And we're live, everybody. Welcome in. It is Friday, November 24th, 1:30 p.m. Central. I hope everyone in the States had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you're still full from that massive meal I'm sure you had yesterday. So, pretty big news to go through today in the world of Tesla. A lot of my followers follow the company quite closely, and if you're new to the story, welcome in. We have actually a lot to talk about today. So, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Christmas has come a month early. Why is that? This is from Martin Viecha. He's the basically the head of investor relations for Tesla. And the reason why is about 2 weeks ago, Holmar's catalog, who's Omar, and he goes by Holmar's catalog on X, closely covers Tesla and other EV-related stories as well. Thank you, Holmar's, for everything that you do. He made a post that said, "Hey, Elon Musk and the person who is in charge of the AI division for artificial intelligence, or anyone else on the Tesla team, any guess on when customers might first be able to try out FSD version 12? And he said about 2 weeks. And this was on November 12th, about 2 weeks ago. And for those that are not familiar, FSD V12 is the software suite where that Tesla uses to drive itself, but it uses artificial intelligence from beginning to end to do that. And then today, we had news that Tesla FSD version 12 has reportedly started rolling out to employees with update 2023.38.10, to which Elon Musk himself replied, yes. So that's why Christmas has come early. So the reason why this is a pretty big deal, for those that are following the Tesla story very closely, I'm sure everybody's jumping for joy. This is a project that has been going on for a long time. Tesla has been working on this self-driving feature really since 2016, 2017, where they've tried to figure out how to use the as little hardware as possible to have a car drive itself. And what they came to was being able to use 8 cameras around the car and essentially a chip in the car to be able to do everything from a driving perspective. And version 12, the reason why it's so groundbreaking is that it moves away from humans coding things into the car, basically saying, if you see a red light, make a left turn. If you see a stop sign, stop. If you see a pedestrian, don't hit it. Instead of having a human kind of typing that in a way, instead it uses an artificial brain, an artificial intelligence brain at the Tesla mothership that analyzes a ton of video, a bunch of video that is fed from the cars to Tesla's headquarters of its surroundings, of it driving, of it stopping. And then that AI brain figures out how to handle everything. So you don't have to tell the AI what a stop sign is, what a traffic light is. It just knows based on the driving behavior of a human in the car. And now, about 2 weeks after Omar posted that post, now we're at a situation where this software is rolling out to cars. And this is quite huge. There's different ways of thinking about this. You have a situation now where you have multiple companies trying to figure out how to solve for self-driving. You have companies like Waymo that use things like LiDAR and radar, a bunch of different sort of sensors to try and capture what's around those cars. You have companies in China that are trying to do the same thing. You have companies like Cruise, which we'll talk about very shortly, and why this sort of within the context of what happened to Cruise is such a big deal. But now Tesla has released this version 12, which from everything the company has guided towards and Elon has guided towards, that should be almost the final foundation to get full self-driving to where Teslas can finally drive themselves fully without a person really having to worry about driving the car. It will probably need other iterations. That I highly doubt this version is like the end all be all. There'll probably be tweaks on top of it, but this is really the foundation where they think they have everything figured out from a build perspective, so that all you need to do is just feed the system more data from the cars, and then all you have to do is have that thing go through the AI brain, and then the car will get to a point where it can drive itself. So yeah, it's pretty massive. There's another post here from Omar. FSD 12, this could be the moment that changes everything, or it could suck even worse than version 11. And then Elon said it feels human. And I think this is a pretty big, it sounds minor, right? Human sounds minor, but the reason why that's such a big deal is if you have been in a, say, Tesla self-driving car or even a self-driving car, the way to ensure that this technology is is basically adopted by as many people as you can, is that it has to feel safe, not just be safe. It has to feel safe. And one of the things that I've noticed from driving my car, I have a Tesla that has the self-driving. When I have, say, guests or people that are riding along with me, it does really good a huge majority of the time. But then there are some situations where it will do something that doesn't feel human, that it feels weird. Like I'm at a stop sign and then it just kind of like crawls weird through the intersection, or it makes a right turn kind of weird, or it just does some weird stuff from time to time. And typically what happens is when somebody who's not familiar with the software experiences that person is like, whoa, this is weird. This is super weird. I was just talking to somebody last night who just bought a Model Y not too long ago and completely unfamiliar with the technology, loves the car, but then he tried turning on autopilot and it did just one weird thing. And the person's like, nope, this is not for me. I can't put my trust on this thing. This is too weird. So having a system that will behave like a human is supremely important to really gain the trust that's needed for the software to be successful. And with version 12 taking basically human behavior by utilizing all its cars, all its 5 million plus cars that are out in the fleet to teach it how to drive. In theory, you'll have a system that's maximally human and maximally safe, because the system is taught to never crash. It will never be distracted. It will never be drunk, so on and so forth, right? So this is really, it's really, really big. Now what we have to wait for is for the software to actually be out, in people's cars outside of employees, so that we can actually test it. And I'm one of the channels that will be doing a lot of testing of version 12 once I get the software. And there are many channels out there as well on YouTube and X as well that you can follow. Hallmark's catalog being one of the biggest ones, but there's many, many out there. So I highly encourage you to do that. Now, if we put this within the context of why is this such a big deal as far as the competitive landscape goes, there was a piece of news that came out. It was actually last week, where I believe it was last week. Time flies. Cruise CEO steps down amid self-driving car safety crisis. And for those that follow this channel closely, you'll know that Cruise had a pretty big issue with an accident that happened in San Francisco. A person was thrown in front of one of their self-driving cars by a human driver. A human driver collided with the person. They threw the person in front of the self-driving car. The self-driving car tried to stop in time, ran over the person, and then it dragged that person about 20 feet while the self-driving car was trying to figure out how to pull over the road without it knowing that there was a human under it, and it caused a huge, huge problem. And this has caused Cruise essentially to pause its operations, and the CEO resigned because of what happened. They withheld some information. It was just kind of a hot mess over there. But what's happening now is you have a company in Tesla that is starting to ramp up its full self-driving efforts, so its self-driving ambitions, by releasing a software update that theoretically should allow it to get to the level 4 sort of threshold, which level 4 means the car can drive with zero human input, essentially. You don't have to pay attention. You don't have to worry about anything. The car just drives itself. Version 12 theoretically should allow the car to do that. And then you have a company like Cruise here that's going the other way. They actually had to pull their cars off the road because their approach of getting there was not good enough. It had some major flaws and some fundamental issues when it came to their system. So now, if version 12 works, right? And this is like the big thing that we have to talk about here. And a lot of people that doubt what Tesla's doing, they'll always say, well, this all sounds great and good, but can it actually do it? Version 12 should be the barometer for a lot of us to say, okay, Tesla's either on the right path or they're there, or okay, this still needs a lot more work. This still needs a lot more work. I come from the standpoint where I'm quite optimistic about this, because taking the complexity of driving and putting it in a system that should be able to handle that complexity without a person having to think about all the different corner cases that can happen, to me sounds like the correct approach. And for it to scale, for you to take that to the next level and say, okay, you've solved the problem, but how expensive is it going to be to get those cars out on the road? How long is it going to take for us to get the cars on into every single city? For a company like, say, Cruise or even Waymo, which Waymo's doing a great job right now, Their biggest challenge is scale. And what I mean by that is Waymo's cars are very expensive to produce compared to, say, a Tesla that should be able to drive itself. Waymo might have to spend anywhere between $250,000 to $500,000 per unit, and it has all the different sensors and it's connected to the internet and all that stuff. So Waymo has to build that out for every single city that it's in. Plus, they have to take the maps for every single city that it operates in. So the scaling thing becomes very difficult for a company like Waymo. Whereas for Tesla, as long as version 12 works, theoretically, it's just a software update. So there are, 3, 4, 5 million cars out on the road right now that are able to take that update. They'll just get the update, and then starting the second after they get the update, theoretically, they'll be able to perform just as good as a Waymo or perhaps even better, because you're not relying on a human to think about all the different things that could go wrong on the road. You have an artificial intelligence to take care of that for you. But then you also have millions of vehicles out there that can drive anywhere in the United States, not just in San Francisco, not just in New York, not just in Chicago. They can drive anywhere in the country. And this is why this is such a big deal. It's a small little post, little tongue-in-cheek at first. I was convinced that Elon was just trolling everybody when he said 2 weeks. But lo and behold, it's 2 weeks. So we'll see how this update goes. In addition to that, what I also want to sort of talk about here with full self-driving, now we have additional news, again, from Sawyer. Thank you, Sawyer, for putting all these things together for us. Tesla China says they are working on rolling out FSD beta in that country. From Bray, Tesla officially indicated today, which was yesterday during Thanksgiving, the prep work to roll out FSD beta is currently underway in response to reporters' inquiry. Though no specific timeline is given, I'm guessing it'll be when version 12 is ready, probably towards the end of December or early January 2024. And the reason why, again, this is such a big deal is that China is the largest car market in the world, number one, and then number two is that there's a lot of regulatory approval that is actually let me reword it. There's a lot of self-driving companies in China that are able to operate, and with Tesla getting the green light to do that as well, they're entering the largest market where this could really benefit them in the long term. It's, again, one of the biggest car markets in the world where Tesla will be able to operate with a self-driving vehicle. And so now, theoretically, you have the two largest car markets in the world, the United States and China, where Tesla is going to have a presence from a self-driving perspective with a method that requires only 8 cameras and a computer chip that is already included in every single one of their cars. And so if version 12 gets rolled out and is successful in the United States, and it's rolled out and is successful in China, then that implies that Tesla's ability to roll out anywhere, Europe, Africa, South America, should have a much smoother road than maybe a lot of people that are doubting this may expect, because now you have the two largest car markets saying, good, we're good to go. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just saying that's sort of like a pointer for us to think about if this were to happen. So super exciting stuff there as well. Truly, truly exciting. And then the third thing that's aligned with this self-driving thing is that there is a new vehicle from Tesla launching in 6 days, which is the Cybertruck. And here's a picture of the Cybertruck from S.E. Robinson on X. Thank you so much for posting these. These are in Hempstead Delivery Center. So there's a Cypress Delivery Center off of Hempstead, and you can see some pictures of the Cybertruck. And so the one theory folks have is that maybe the Cybertruck will launch with version 12 because it's already making its way out to employees and very soon to customers. But I think what's probably going to happen here is that Cybertruck will probably not get version 12 to start, if I were to guess, mainly because it's on hardware 4, which is the newest version of the hardware. And that hardware is about, from a software perspective, it's about 3 to 6 months behind the capabilities of where the hardware 3 cars are, which is what most of the cars are on the road right now, which are getting this version 12 update. What will probably happen is in about 3 to 6 months, hardware 4 cars, including the Cybertruck, will get the version 12 update. And then from that point forward, I would expect hardware 4 cars to have better capabilities in the long term, potentially, than hardware 3 cars. But it doesn't necessarily mean that hardware 3 cars won't be able to do full self-driving level 4 in some way. So super exciting stuff. Super, super exciting stuff. And we'll end it right there because I'm sure everybody needs to take a nap from the Thanksgiving dinner still from yesterday. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll catch up again on Monday. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.